Well, hey, everybody, Mr. Reeves back with you, and we are now on the Module 5 module quiz as we prepare for the upcoming quiz on percents and problem solving with percents. All right, so we're going to dive right in with lesson 5.1, which was percent of increase and decrease. All right, so here we go. Let me first remind you of this ratio. All right, the percent change is equal to the change in the amount. All right, so the change in the amount divided by the original amount. Okay, so that's a ratio that you need to know, that the percent change is the change in the amount over the original amount. All right, if the change goes up, we call that an increase, and if the change goes down, we call that a decrease. All right, so it says find the percent change from the first value to the second. So first, let's just look, are these increases or decreases? So this first one goes from 36 to 63. That's an increase, right? Next one goes from 50 to 35. That would be a decrease. 40 to 72, increase. 92 to 69, decrease. Okay. All right. So let's find these percent change. So the first one, percent increase or percent of increase. I'm going to do 63 minus 36 over my original amount of 36. All right, this next one, I'm going to do 50 minus 35 over my original amount of 50. This one right here is going to be 72 minus 40 over 40. By the way, you always do the larger minus the smaller one so we don't get any negative changes. This one right here is going to be 92 minus 69 over my original amount, which is 92. All right, so first thing, write those ratios. And then we're going to actually do the subtraction. By the way, you are welcome and encouraged to use a calculator to help you. All right, so here we go. So I'm going to do 63 minus 36, which is going to be 27, right? So I get 27 over 36. Now I want to change that to a percent. Now the easiest way to change a fraction to a percent is to divide the numerator by the denominator. I've showed you other ways to do it, especially when those denominators are factors of 100. But in this case, I'm simply going to take 27 and divide it by 36, and I get 0.75, which is going to be 75%. So this would be a 75% increase. All right. By the way, just a quick reminder, if we had simplified 27 over 36, if we had divided both of those by 9, we could have gotten 3/4. And of course, we're supposed to know that 3/4 is 75%. Works with the calculator. It's just always good to also remember what math we could do mentally. All right. So the next one, 50 minus 35. So I'm feeling bad about not doing that other one mentally. So 50 minus 35 is 15 over 50, right? And that right there, here we know that 50 goes into 100 two times. So this one's going to be 30 out of 100. Sorry, not 30 out of 30, but 30 out of 100, which is 30%. This was a 30% decrease, right? Okay, so that one I'm proud of myself I did mentally. But just to confirm, if we had done it on the calculator, if we had done 15 divided by 50, we would have gotten 0.3, which is 30%. Okay, so let me go ahead and highlight these answers here. All right, so the next one, what do we have here? We've got 72 minus 40 over 40. All right, well, 72 minus 40 is going to be 32. Right, so once again, we have 32 over 40. Well, not once again, but once again we have one that we could use mental math on, right? We could divide both of these by 8. If I divide that one by 8 and I divide that one by 8, well, 32 divided by 8 is 4. 40 divided by 8 is 5. We get 4/5. 4/5 is 8 out of 10, which is 80 out of 100, right? So this is going to be, I'm going to erase this so I can get the answer in. This is going to be an 80% increase. 80% increase right there. All right, and again, I just do want to remind you that we could have used the calculator. Again, what were we looking at? We were looking at 32 divided by 40. There we go. 32 divided by 40. If you had missed the simplifying, you would see that we get 0.8. And finally, this last one, I'm going to do 92, take away 69, and that gives me 23. Of course, I could have done that mentally by doing 92 minus 70 and then putting one more on it. 23 over 92. If I'm not mistaken, 23 times 4 is 92. I think this is going to simplify to 1/4, which is going to be 0.25 or 25% of a decrease. But I might be mistaken, so let me go to my calculator and actually check. 23 was my change, and if I divide that by 92, well, look at that. I get 0.25 or 25%, okay? So if you are asked to find, let me use a different color here. If you are asked to find either the percent increase or the percent decrease, that's the percent change. The percent change is equal to the change in the amount over the original amount. All right, I know we packed a lot in here in that space, but hopefully you were able to follow along. All right, in section 5.2, we went to rewriting percent expressions. All right, remember, if you remember doing this, we use variables sometimes. All right, remember we have an original price, and the original price is always 100%. Okay, so that is something we need to remember, that the original price is 100%. All right, and then if we have a markup, we add, and if we have a markdown, we're going to subtract. Okay, so if the original price is $60, and the markup is 15%, what are we going to need? We're going to need 115%, right? It's going to be 100% plus 15%. So it's going to be 115% of 60, okay? This one right here, we have a markup also. This one's going to be 100% plus 12.5%. So this one's going to be 112.5% of 32. All right, right here we're going to have 100%, but then we have a mark down minus 22%. Well, 100 minus 22, that's going to be 78% of, what was it, $50, okay? And finally, this one's going to be 100% minus 30%. That's going to give us 70%. 70% of 125. All right. Now, again, I've gone through previously how we can solve this using proportional reasoning. But at this point in the game, because these were all the same type of problem, we know a method that will work always, and that is multiplication. All right. So of for these problems equals multiplication. So if you remember, we didn't do this that long ago. We changed the percent to a decimal, and then we multiply. How do you change a percent to a decimal? You move it 2 places to the left. All right, 2 places to the left. So what do we get? We get 1.15 times 60. For this one, we get 1.125 times 32. For this one, we get 0.78 times 50. And for this one, we get 0.70 times 125. Okay, so to find a percent of it, we are going to change the percent to a decimal, and then we're going to multiply. And absolutely, we're going to use our handy-dandy calculator here. 1.15 times 60. And what do I get? I get $69. Now remember, this is money, so I'm going to put a dollar sign and 69. If I put a decimal, 2 decimal places, right? $69. Since it doesn't have any cents attached, you can write it with or without. But if you write it with, you must go 2 decimal places, and you must put a dollar sign at the beginning. All right, what about this one? What about 1.125, 112.5% of 32? When we multiply those, we get $36. By the way, do these answers make sense? We had a markup of 15%, so it went up to 69. This one, we had a markup of 12.5%. It went up to 36. We better get a number that's bigger, right? These ones are marked down, so we better get a number that's smaller when we multiply. So how about 78% of 50? All right, when we do that, we get $39. So yes, the price did go down. And finally, this last one, 70% of 125, 0.70, 70% of 125. What do I get when I do that? I get 87.5, but remember, this is money, $87.50. Again, the calculator says 87.5, but we must write $87.50. All right. So there we go. And now finally to 5.3, applications of percent. Here we go. All right, Mei Ling earns a weekly salary of $325 plus 6.5% commission. How much would she make in a work week if she sold $4,800? All right, so what are we going to have? We're going to have her salary plus her percent times her sales. All right, that's how commission works. The salary plus the percent times the sales. Where her salary is, here, let me change colors here. Her salary is $325. Her percent, which we're going to change to a decimal by moving it 2 places to the left, so I get 0.065. That's her percent written as a decimal. All right, so percent as a decimal. That's what we do when we're multiplying. All right, percent as a decimal times $4,800. Okay, this is going to be like a markup. It's going to be an increase. It's an increase of 6.5% of that. This is the extra money she earned through her sales. That's how commission works. So we have $325 plus 0.065 times $4,800. All right. And when we do that, we get $637. All right. And that should make sense. All right. Because she made $325 initially, but she had a large amount of sales, $4,800 sales, and she got 6.5% of that. All right. Okay. Raymond earns $1,735 each month and pays $53.10 for electricity. To the nearest 10%, what percent of Raymond's earnings are spent? All right. So basically this question is asking what percent is 5310 of $1,735, right? This right here is our part. This right here is our whole, right? Part of everything he's making is going to electricity, and we want that as a percent. All right, so remember when we did this before, we have part over whole equals percent over 100, right? Part over whole equals percent over 100. So we have 5310 over 1,735 is equal to something over 100. Okay, now, I hope you can clearly see that that does not go into 100 evenly, right? And we could try to do some simplifying, but remember, we can change any fraction into a percent by dividing. So here's a case where the easiest and most efficient thing to do is I'm just going to take 53.10, that's how much he's paying in electricity. I'm going to divide it. The part divided by the whole is going to give me the decimal. And when I do that, I get this. Now, it says to the nearest tenth, all right, and I'm going to have to go 2 decimal places for that and then 1 more. So this is going to be, if I wrote it down as a decimal, 0.031. Do you see that? 0.031 or 3.1%. So again, as a decimal, it was 0.031. So as a percent, that is 3.1%. Okay, so the nearest tenth of a percent, 3.1%. Again, that was a little tricky here. All right, because we have to go 2 places, and that makes this the 10th percent there, and we round up because that 6 is 5 or bigger, right? So it would be 0.31 or 3.1%. Okay, we have, 2 problems left here. Okay, James Priya, I guess it's Priya, and Siobhan work in a grocery store. James makes $7 an hour. Priya makes 20% more than James, and Siobhan makes 5% less than Priya. How much does Siobhan make per hour? All right, so we've got James. James is making $7, right? All right, then we have Priya, and Priya is making 20% more. So she's making $7 an hour plus 20% of $7 an hour. All right, so let's do that right there. So that's 7 plus 0.20 times 7, right? Or another option we could have done, if Priya would be making 120%, so P equals 120% of J, right? So we could do 1.20 times 7. So either one of those is going to work. If I go to my handy dandy calculator, again, there's 2 ways I can do it. I can do his $7 plus 20% times that $7 and get that answer of 8.4, or I can do 1.20 times $7 and get that same result. But remember, this is money, so the 8.4 would be what? $8.40. All right, so that is how much Priya makes. So we have James right here is at $7. We've got Priya right here at $8.40, which is 20% more. And then we need 5% less. All right, so that means that we have Siobhan. Siobhan is 95% of Priya, right? Because 100% minus 5%, right? 100% minus 5% is 95%, right? So again, we could do it this way, right? I'm going to show you both ways. We could take Priya's, which is 840, and we can subtract 5%, which would be 0.05, because remember, you move the decimal 2 places to the left, times 840. So that would be like the first way we did it, where we added 20%. This one we're subtracting, right? Or the easier way is say, I'm just going to do 95% of that 840, because if you take away 5%, you have 95%. Either way, we get $7.98. Okay, so Siobhan makes $7, and what was it? 98 cents, wasn't it? 98 cents? All righty. Okay. And if we wanted to check those numbers, we could write those as ratios. and we can get the percent. In fact, let me just do that real quick just to check it. If I did 7.98, that's how much Cinnabon makes, and if I divided it by 8.40, I should get 95%. And I do, right? And if I do 840, which is how much Priya makes, if I divide that by James's $7, I should get 120%. And I do. Awesome, possum, the math is working out. All right, last one that we're going to do. It says the Hugh family, or the Who family? Who? Probably Who, not Hugh. The Who family goes out for lunch, and the price of the meal is $45. The sales tax on the meal is 6%, and the family also leaves a 20% tip on the pre-tax amount. What is the total cost of the meal? All right, so what do we have? We have the original cost, right? Plus we have the tax, plus we have the tip. That's going to give us our total cost. Well, the original cost was $45. The tax is 6%, so that's going to be 0.06 of the $45, right? And the tip is going to be 20% or 0.20 of the $45. That's how we could write it separately, but just like I was saying, okay, there's 45, there's 45, there's 45. They're all multiplied by that 45. If I added those percents, this is 100%, right? So 1 plus 0.06 plus 0.26 is going to give me 1.26, right? Or 126%, because this was 6%, right? This was 20%, and this is 100%. So when you add all those together, you get 126%, right? 126% of 45. All righty, so let's do that in our handy dandy calculator. 1.26, 100% plus 6% plus 20%, 126% of 45. And what do we get? We get 56. Now again, the calculator says 56.7, but this is money. $56.70. That's 126%. Again, if we do that number, if we divide it by our original amount, what do we get? We get 1.26 or 126%. So the actual meal was $45, but they walked out the door paying $56.10. All right. I noticed they did not have us do any questions on simple interest. So I wish they had given us a question on simple interest. I'm looking next here, and I don't see any questions with simple interest. That is something you should review, and if you need some help, let me know. But I hope this review reminded you of what you had previously learned, or maybe you actually learned something new when we did it this time, as we prepare for our quiz on percents and solving problems with percents. Until next time, have a great day. Bye.